Hi, I just want to apologize for the video that you tried to watch that had no audio in it. So here's the redo. This will be our last verifying trig identities video, and then we're going to move on to the next section. Although you will have more homework, but this is the last video. So our first question is secant x plus cosecant of negative x all over secant x cosecant x equals sine x minus cosine x. The first thing we want to do is take care of this cosecant negative x. He's a problem. So we're going to change that into secant x. And cosecant of negative x is the same as negative cosecant x. So if you don't have that written down anywhere, you should probably get that written down somewhere. And everything else is staying the same. Okay, now let's think about what I can do here. So I know what I'm going to do, and this is actually different from what I have written down, but I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to break this up into two separate fractions. So I'm going to change this into secant x over secant x cosecant x minus cosecant x over secant x cosecant x. Now that I've realized there's a quicker way to do it, wait till you see how fast this is. I can cross this secant out with this secant. I can cross this cosecant out with this cosecant. Now I have 1 over cosecant minus 1 over secant. And 1 over cosecant, of course, is sine, and 1 over secant is cosine. And I'm done. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I did it so much longer the last time. That's ridiculous. Look at that, I'm getting better. Okay. Let's try the next one. This one's got some more fractions in it. 1 over 1 plus cosine theta plus 1 over 1 minus cosine theta equals 2 plus 2 cotangent squared theta. Okay, so I'm going to take these fractions and try to get a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply the first fraction by 1 minus cosine over 1 minus cosine. And I'm going to multiply the second fraction by 1 plus cosine over 1 plus cosine. Okay, that's going to leave me with 1 minus cosine on the top of the first fraction and 1 plus cosine all over 1 minus cosine times 1 plus cosine. Okay, when we look at the top, you'll see that the two cosines can cancel because one's positive and one's negative. And we also have the 1 and the 1 that can get together and become a 2. Also, in the denominator, I can FOIL these together, and I'll get 1 plus cosine theta minus cosine theta minus cosine squared theta. And again, I have these canceling. So this positive and this negative cosine cancel. Now I have 2 over 1 minus cosine squared theta. Okay, 1 minus cosine squared theta, I think you've got this now because you have answered this a couple of times now, is sine squared theta. So hopefully you're starting to recognize that when you see it. Now this is pretty simplified, but the crazy mess we actually have to get it to, I'm going to rewrite it here so we can see it, is 2 plus 2 cotangent squared theta. So I'm just not there yet. But what I notice here is on the left, I still have a fraction, and on the right, I don't have a fraction. So I'm going to try to turn this left side into not being a fraction anymore. And I can do that by taking sine squared up to the top and making it cosecant squared. Now, at least there's no fraction anymore, so I'm definitely getting closer. But another thing to notice is on the right, it's two terms. I have 2, and then I have this 2 cotangent theta. So somehow I have to get cosecant squared to be 2 terms. And the easiest way to do that is to change cosecant squared theta into 1 plus cotangent squared theta. And if you don't have this written down somewhere, then you need to. So cosecant squared, I'll write this over here, equals 1 plus cotangent squared theta, just as an aside over here. Okay, I'm almost done actually. So now if I distribute the 2 in, I'll get 2 plus 2 cotangent squared theta. And now I'm done. Okay, so we only have 2 more problems left. Isn't that exciting? Okay. 1 over 1 plus sine theta plus 1 over 1 minus sine theta equals 2 plus 2 tangent squared theta. Now this is very similar to the one before. So what I want you to do right now is I really want you to pause the video and try to finish this problem on your own. And you can use the steps from the previous problem to help you. And then when you're done or you get stuck, turn the video back on and watch me do it. But I really, really think you should try to stop the video and do it yourself because, you know, I'm not always going to be there to walk you through every problem. So as I did in the previous problem, I'm going to try to get a common denominator. When I get a common denominator, I'm going to get 1 minus sine theta plus 1 plus sine theta on the top. On the bottom, I'm going to get 1 minus sine theta times 1 plus sine theta. Isn't this seeming familiar? Okay. The 1's can combine to be a 2, and the sign, the negative sign and the positive sign will cancel. On the bottom, remember those middle terms cancel because those are conjugates. So when I FOIL that, I will get 1 minus sine squared theta. 1 minus sine squared theta is cosine squared theta. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, though, I'm going to say what I said last time. I have a fraction, and the thing I'm trying to get is not a fraction. So in order to change this into not a fraction anymore, I'm going to pull the cosine up and change it into a secant. And the other problem, of course, is that this is one term, and the thing I'm trying to get it to, which is, I'll rewrite it here so you can see it. The thing I'm trying to get it to is 2 plus 2 tangent squared theta. So I'm trying to get one term to be 2. And the way to do that is to change secant squared theta into 1 plus tangent squared theta. And there is also, in addition to creating another term, it also introduces the tangent into the problem, which until now I haven't seen it. And then finally we're going to distribute that 2 and get 2 plus 2 tangent squared theta. Oh my gosh, it's the last problem. Okay, we have cosecant squared x minus 1 over cosecant squared x, and we're going to try to prove that this equals cosine squared x. So I'm wondering if you see anything we can do here. I see a couple of different things we can do actually, but I wonder what you see. So what I see here is to turn this fraction into just one term. Actually, that's not, no, I lied. That's not true, but I'm going to separate this fraction into two fractions is what I'm going to do. Okay. Now cosecant squared plus, I can't even talk anymore. Cosecant squared over cosecant squared is 1. And 1 over cosecant squared is sine squared. And my friends, what does 1 minus sine squared equal? That's right, cosine squared. Yay! Don't you feel accomplished? You're done listening to me yap about verifying trig functions.